Okay, today's workshop. Okay, we got a pretty full agenda. I think we're going to start right off with the Employee of the Quarter Awards. Andy, when you're ready, you let me know on the fourth quarter of 2023. You want to read them?
Yes.
All right, come on down.
Thank you. And okay. Mayor and Board, we also have the service awards as well, correct?
Perfect. You're in charge of both of them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, Chief regrets not being here. Oh, great, he's here. We had a very, very competitive competition for the Employee of the Quarter. There's some great entries, quite a bit of entries from that fact. The committee met last week. It was a tough decision, but I wanted to congratulate the EPD's record department for being selected this last school district year. And so if I could just share, they have to go through an audit, and Carol, please chime in.
Okay.
Carol is the supervisor for the department. If you would like to come up, Carol, please. Mic drop. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Here you go. Carol, if you can just share with the board the audit and how intense it is, please.
The audit is actually through the Maryland State Police and the FBI, and it's every 18 months to 2 years. And what they do is they send a packet to begin with so that you can justify why we run criminal histories. They sent about 25 requests that we had to go back, look through our last 3 years, and justify why we ran. They also, on the day before the audit, they send a packet of warrants, missing persons, identity theft, validations, all these things. And we have to pull all those files. And they sit there for hours and they go through everything. They rerun everything to make sure that we've captured every little piece of information that's out there in the world. And
it's got to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect, yeah. And in past years, you know, we've gotten dinged here and there a little bit, but this year was exceptional. So,
Fantastic.
thank you.
So if I can have all the records team come up to receive your award. Carol Mouse. Moss, sorry. It's a language barrier. Moss. Bruce Edwards. Sierra Gonzalez. And Gabriela Gonzalez. Congratulations.
Listen, if we can have you all stand up here in front of us. Hold your recognition in front of everybody. We'll stand behind you.
Yeah, this way.
All right. This is good.
All right.
All right, you're going to look at me, get a nice smile, and then you'll go to Tracy. Thank you.
Oh.
Go on, Tracy.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to add, this same team received the fourth quarter.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to mention that Carol and her team received the service fourth quarter Employee of the Quarter, and at the end of 2022, because they had to migrate to a whole new reporting system. So that's 2 years in a row. Congratulations to them. Also want to mention some milestones for different employees last quarter. One, Mr. Brian McQueen from DPW. He celebrated his 10-year anniversary. He's not here today, unfortunately. We have Michelle Henson, celebrated 20 years. Congratulations to her. Officer Jeffrey Chandler celebrated his 5th year anniversary. He's out today, unfortunately, but congratulations to him. And Jim Van Ziel is here to represent all of them. So he's 10 years. Come on up, Jim.
All right. Jim, come up here and get a picture with us.
Oh, you don't want to break cameras.
Oh, here you go.
Oh, they,
Thanks, Daniel.
that's your job.
Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim.
All right, turn around and give us a big smile.
You're standing in front of the mayor.
You're all right, you're good there. You're good.
Turn your certificate around.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even better. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Carol, I'm gonna get
Okay, Chip wanted to be on last. So, Mr. Ray Jackson, can you give us an update on Southfield? I know you got a lot to talk about today.
I'm going to try to brief through it. First of all, happy New Year. Thanks very much for letting us come in. We're going to put a quick slideshow up. I did put on each of your, in front of each of you, a detailed schedule. And if you want, I can send you an email. We can send it over to Michelle. So you have an ongoing schedule of Southfield. But that's the paper copy of what I'm going to talk about real quick. So as you know, we had our official groundbreaking. The pre-construction meeting was actually today, on site today. So the mobilization, you'll see, can you go to the next? Perfect. You'll see all the work actually starts tomorrow. So you're going to see the stakeout crews there. You're going to see physical work being done. The boulevard gets cut in, as I've described before. Utilities have to go in. So that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of dirt moving right now. Okay, so good positive stuff. SEH is the contractor. I mentioned them to you before. They're the same group that did the site for Trammell Crow over at Commerce Center off of Route 40. Same group is doing the work for us. For the infrastructure, most likely will be the same contractor to try to get efficiencies for the other parcels as well. We're still processing parcel D, which is the multifamily residential, and we're processing parcel C. And we expect approvals there early this spring. So they will fall behind in schedule the infrastructure anyway. So it's all coming together. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. Again, I gave paper copies to everybody, but we'll email you. And we'll also send you these updates. Mr. Mayor, I don't know with whom you want us to send it, but we could send it, electronically to you once a month.
Listen, if you're sending it electronically, just send it to every one of us.
Okay, all right, we will do that.
And of course, make sure Lewis is on there, and Chip's on there, and Jeannie's on there.
Absolutely, yep, we'll create it'll probably be we'll create a new email list and make sure that everybody gets it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The second thing I want to talk about is a request to waive the water and sewer fees for the multifamily residential. If you recall, I came before you before on behalf of D.R. Horton and requested a waiver of the impact fees for parcel C. Actually parcel C and parcel H, which was the single family detached. And the rationale for us is that we created this special tax district. We're incurring about $15 million of expenses for the infrastructure, the boulevard, the water, the sewer, the water tower that we built. We're going to be building 2 sewer pump stations. We've also done improvements off-site, or we will be doing improvements off-site. So we've got a significant investment here. So we're making a formal request to waive the impact fees for the multifamily residential, which is parcel D. This was part of the original conversations that we had 3-4 years ago.
I'd like to add to that and just let you know where I was coming from at that time, was that when I was soliciting to try to find someone to come in to build the largest indoor-outdoor recreation facility in North America, there's a lot of things that, and at that time I wanted to stress that we did have hookup fees that were waived or suspended for residential housing. And that was something that we were doing right to that point. At that time, I think where the little hiccup here has been is that I've always felt that multifamily was commercial. And I think that that's the way that we've always taken that. So when I spoke to you the other day, I stressed to you, I said, listen, you got to come in front of the board, you got to talk to us about if this is something that you want to request, and I think this is the right way to do it, is your request from the board. But as I said, that was my feelings all along, that this was a commercial, but you did give some evidence to how you're relating to that this is a residential side of things. So that's something that the board will have to weigh in on, and you can continue to sell your, sell it why it should be. And, the one thing that I've always had mixed feelings on with the project in general has been, we have a special taxing district, and we're having the customer pay special taxes for all these improvements, and then we're collecting hookup fees for everything. Sometimes to me, that feels like we're doing a double dip. And I said that to the board months ago about a double dip. Now, I'm going to turn the floor back to you, but I wanted to let you know I recognize exactly what you're saying because you and I talked about that.
And we can send you the clarification with regards to how things are categorized if you want. I can send you all that backup, it's in your code. Multifamily residential is residential, obviously, so, but I'll send you all that backup, okay? I did not bring that with me today. I'll send it to everybody electronically so you have it. So the original conversation, or the initial conversation that we had back in 2019, if you recall, when I met you initially, we talked about a TIF, is what we talked about. And at that point in time, the town had never done a TIF, and we said, let's move forward without a TIF. We can implement the special tax district. And in fact, what's happening is the property owners, up front right now, me, and then the end property owners, will be the ones that are paying for this through the special tax district. It's not dissimilar to what's called a front foot benefit, where a developer comes in, puts in all the infrastructure, and then they collect a fee from the homeowner for the next 30 years. We just did this globally, right? We put it over top of all the parcels. So it is in fact double dipping if we were then to ask the property owners to again pay for a hookup fee. We're trying to circumvent that by doing the infrastructure and putting in all this at no cost to the town.
So you guys are already installing the lines when you put the property in, right?
Yes, we're installing all of that, and then we'll deed that over to the town. It'll become an asset of the town's.
And normally that applies when we hook up a house, we then get the line, and then that's when the hookup fee is paid. Is that correct? The way we usually do it. Isn't that the way we usually do it?
I would defer to Lewis. I don't know if it's collected at building permit issuance or use and occupancy. I don't know when the hookup fees are paid here. Pardon my ignorance, I don't know.
I'm just asking.
How many do we currently have allocated that we waive?
300 single-family homes for the D.R. Horton case.
Horton only?
Yes.
Greymount Commons also, it's all waived.
Huh?
Greymount Commons, all the units up there
Right,
that waived.
yeah, came under that time period, right?
Yeah.
And how many up there?
I don't know.
120,
About 120?
It's about 180.
180, Greymount.
180 for Greymount? 300?
Keep in mind, major facility,
300?
for off-site improvements, like wastewater treatment plants, water treatment
Yeah, we
plants.
know.
They're not for improvements that serve the development directly. They're indirect, and
Right.
otherwise you have to borrow money.
And what's
And you
300?
offset the debt.
How many again, I'm sorry?
For the
Horton. 3,
300, yes.
even?
300, yes.
Even, okay, thank you.
Sorry.
So now you're asking for,
We're asking for a waiver for the residential portion, which is parcel B, for the multifamily residential for Greystar.
Lou, let me ask you something on apartments. Do we put meters in every apartment? Do you know, I'm sorry, do you know do we put meters in every apartment, or is it build one bill?
Greystar owns the whole project, be a master meter for them. I'm not sure, I don't know if we'll stick a meter every one, because Greystar will be the property owner who will pay that bill.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how we do it at Pine Valley, but I know it's been pretty successful. I don't think that we bill every unit at Pine Valley. That would drive us nuts. But if there was one big master meter that would handle that makes a lot more sense.
so what is that?
Is it one
Yeah.
next?
Or is that,
Well, I think that's something we'd have to ask Chip, because I think it's different than, I think that these units are treated more like a hotel. See, right?
Mr. Mayor, if I could, what typically happens is every building will get its own connection and its own meter, and then the management company will most likely use a private service to measure the water flow into each individual unit, and they'll distribute, or basically bisect the bills to each of the individual unit owners. But the town will only have, in this case, I believe, 6 or 7 meters, depending on if they do a separate meter to the community center.
Perfect. Well, listen, we'll give it some thought. I think that we need to sit down and see exactly what those, because my belief is that this is treated more like a hotel, and we may be, the value of these hookup fees may be a lot different than we're thinking.
And just to be clear, Mr. Mayor, a hotel is under commercial usage. Apartments aren't allowed in any commercial zone in Elkton, and every reference to apartments in the entire code, probably 15 of them, list them all as residential, with the exception of a joint commercial residential building, which this obviously isn't.
Very good.
We'll send you that back up so you can see where it is in your own.
I think we need that information.
Excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry. I just noticed that there were some hands raised with Beth and Sheehan.
No,
I'm not very sure.
yeah, maybe,
I asked,
let me ask Beth. Can you unmute Beth? Because she would probably be the one that's, hey Beth.
Right. Hi, I stepped away for a minute, but what was the question?
Actually, we were talking about Pine Valley, for example. Do we have a separate water meter in every unit, or is that like a master system?
Let me double check, because we did have one for every unit. That's how it still is. We have a meter room, I think, there for the building, and the meters are in that meter room, is my belief off the top of my head.
Okay. And we bill each individual unit?
Well, we bill it to the owner, but we bill each unit.
Okay.
It's been done both ways, honestly, through the years.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of like the idea of one master meter and let the...
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought we were kind of going to that way. One big master unit meter, and then if there's any leaks in the lateral, then
Right.
then they have to handle it.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. And well, you answered my question. Did you have one for us?
No, I just was going to answer the Pine Valley one earlier.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought I saw a hand from Chris Sheenan up. I'm not sure what that would be in reference to.
He got scared, he dropped off.
He dropped off, he did. Go ahead, Ray, you're still on.
Yes, I could real quick.
Yeah, go.
And I apologize for jumping in, but on sideline properties, since you're considering it besides the meters, we would like to have clarification on whether or not the special tax district does in fact handle all that all the way to the hookup, because we certainly don't want to double pay either. So while you're considering that, it's probably worth asking the question now rather than coming back in later.
I think that'll be something that we have to decide on.
Thank you.
But listen, this is the time to do it.
Correct.
And I'm sorry, so Beth raised her hand again,
Okay?
so
I don't think it went down, did it?
I thought it did.
No.
Um,
Beth, you have another question? Unmute, please.
I don't.
Chris did not have a question, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, for some reason, I think the hands are staying up. All right, go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
Next topic of conversation is about, and we had discussed this the last time we were in, but I invited a couple of the engineers here to expand on the conversation, is about the process with regards to the town review and KCI. We want to try to figure out, we want to work collectively with the town, with KCI, to figure out how best to streamline this process. And what I shared with you the last time was an example of a submission that was made. And there was 3 sets of subsequent comments that all looked at the same set of plans, but found different comments for the same set of plans. And, you know, my comment was, how many bites of the apple do you get? The last thing we want to do is submit something that's improper, and we need to correct it if it's improper. We're the first ones to acknowledge that. And I think what you'll hear from the engineers is that it's their stamp, that you know, they're signing these plans to be real and factual. So we need to figure out a way to process this better. I mean, it's been an ongoing issue. I think that the last conversation we had, you all acknowledged that this has been an ongoing issue. I'll give you an example. We sold some property in front of Commerce Center where a car wash is being planned. It's in front of the industrial, the warehouses off of 40. We subdivided a 6-acre parcel and a 2.5-acre parcel. WashX has come in, submitted plans, a concept plan. They got concept plan approval, and then they got their comments back again. And I'm going to defer to Tom Miner here in a second. But they went back to the original set and started commenting on the original set after full engineering documents had been prepared. And that's concerning. That's concerning for time purposes and also for efficiency purposes. You're double and triple paying for this. The user is. Now, in addition to that, and I don't want to talk specifics about that submission, but the fees for KCI are in some cases almost equal to the fees to design the project. And that's just unheard of. I mean, typically it's a small portion of it, right? You're reviewing the technical documents. We need to figure out a check and balance here, please. And we want to work with you. We want to figure it out together. If possible, I'd like to bring Tom up and let him speak. Is it okay?
No, I'd like to know.
Are you not able to work this out, like this WashX thing with Jean? Did they not correspond with you about that?
So I think it's able to be worked out. That's why I'll say that I don't think KCI is particularly trying to doing anything. You know, they're used to reviewing. That's their job, is to continue to review. I'm not. They're engineers too. We all have our own we're all licensed. We're all doing what as best we can. The issue is that we're getting multiple rounds of reviews, and the things that are on those plans pretty much, I'm not saying particularly concept reviews because those are looser and they're not as detailed, but we're submitting preliminary plans. There's items regularly on these first sets of plans, and we're submitting them 3-4 times with the same piece of information that's been on that the whole time, and then we're still getting comments that could have been on the first round. And I guess our request would be is concept, you have comments, you know, if there's concerns, put them in there. Preliminary, when we submit you basically a full set of engineering drawings, if there's concerns or issues, be detailed, the more comments the better, because then we can address those. But once you make those preliminary comments, unless there's a wholesale change to something, we would like that to be it for the most part. I'm not saying it has to be 100% it all the time. There's things that add, comment here or there. No one's perfect. That's fine. The issue is that it's holding up progress on the sets, and we have plans that are fully detailed out. You could completely build off of them, and we're just getting, for example, we just got concept storm management review. The plans have been detailed out for 3 submissions.
But my suggestion is, I'm not KCI connected, and neither is the mayor or commissioners, but the head person at KCI needs to come with you guys and decide on how you guys are going to review these documents, whatever, and have a checklist point. Once you get to that point, check it off and move on. I don't know how hard that's going to be. I don't need to be an engineer to do it.
Well, and that's kind of what we're asking for, is that when you make those comments, those are your comments to have, and then that should be, for the most part, it. I mean, I'm not saying you can't add more comments, but this is a fact check to make sure that critical things are covered, not preferences, adding on things. It's just the completeness of the comments. It makes it very difficult. It makes it impossible to give a budget to any developer, because we assume we have a concept, a preliminary, and a final, maybe one extra round of comments in between.
Did you not mix up, I'm just asking, preliminary with final?
So the comment from KCI was resubmit preliminary.
Did you?
And we submitted the preliminary.
But
And
you
all
had-
it said, the mix-up was, should we have had the plan say preliminary
Yeah,
on the submission, or should the plans have said final, because we were trying to go to final review?
but, yeah, you were, WashX, it's funny you should bring that up. WashX was actually redlined off the planning commission
Sure, yep.
meeting, and I inquired why. And when I saw the 4 pages of comments from KCI and Gene Minner that explained some of your submissions and the problems that were on those submissions, it made sense to me. So I'm not sure at what point you want to put all the blame on our planning department.
I'm
Because
not really
I'm
blaming
ready to
anyone.
call Gene Minner in here and get this straightened out.
Well, so I wasn't really, that was an example, but kind of the same
It's a
thing
big
as for
one.
Pete. Well, no, it's an example. So I was trying to, we have WashX, it's kind of the same with Patriots, where we're submitting very detailed sets of plans, and we keep getting additional comments. So like, example would be with that one is, we had a comment that said, the sewer line should be 8% slope. And that's fine, if you want it to be 8% slope, but we had been showing 10% for 3 other submissions before that. That's just an example. And so if you want it to be 8%, that's fine, but, you know, that comment was in the plan was detailed out, we had the sewer line shown on those other items. And if that was in the first round, would have been addressed, and we just weren't aware of it, that was a concern. So, and again, I'm not saying that we can't have additional comments. I guess all I'm requesting is that when we go and we have a concept and we have preliminary, that the reviews be encompassing of the plans, and if there's additional information that's needed, then those requests be made at that point, rather than us addressing the comments and then coming back again with more comments.
I think what we need to do is, we're going to invite KCI,
And Gene Minner.
Gene Minner, and multiple engineering firms to come in, and let's,
There's another one right here.
yeah.
You have 80% of your engineers who process things to your town right here.
Yeah, and I think we just need to all let's be on the same page. I feel like at times we are, and then sometimes we're not, but I will also agree that during my years sitting on the planning commission, I used to remember that we used to receive engineering comments the day of our meeting. Do you still receive any of that?
The day off?
Yeah, so that's good. That's good news. I'm just going back. Now,
No, but I mean, there's deadlines for submissions.
there is.
And then the submissions under whatever you're looking for, concept, preliminary, final, have to coincide, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a little bit more story to this Washex than you're presenting, and I'm just, I'm willing to discuss it.
Sure.
With Jean a little bit more and get a clarification if that's what you need.
Well, I think maybe the hidden agenda here is, when I say hidden agenda, is that what is the cost? I'm going to go down to the cost side of things here a little bit. How do you guys, and we don't know up here, but when you go in for a subdivision plan or a plan, is there a set figure that we bill you, or do we continue to bill you when we get additional costs?
I'll answer that. You'll go ahead, Ryan.
So in 2017, you signed a resolution, Mr. Mayor, that outlined the fee schedule for reviews of projects through the town.
Yes.
So when we look to do a job, we look to the code, we look to the law to see what you're allowed to charge us.
Yes.
That doesn't seem to have been followed in this case because we're being forwarded invoices from your third-party engineer, KCI. Since I brought this up, I guess a month ago in front of you guys, I walked you through exactly what Tom just said, which is we were getting on fourth rounds of submissions, new comments for things that hadn't changed. It was very frustrating. It became clear to us that there's an incentive problem here. The incentive problem is that you're being billed on an hourly basis, like a law firm, whereas we're paying a flat fee for a review, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're incentivized to still have this move quicker, but there's not necessarily any incentive for the third-party reviewer not to keep finding more and more and more problems.
I'm finding this hard to digest.
Well,
KCI,
we know you're not doing.
the last thing we want to do is another round just to make money. I don't want to comment on any of this without looking at specific things and getting specific answers so that I don't get anything wrong. But I'm hearing lots of stuff that I think is mischaracterized and wrong. I can respond to stuff later, but I mean, the last thing we want to do is do reviews over and over and over.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not looking, I don't want the council to resolve, have it be, here, look at these comments and stuff. That's why I didn't bring any
You're
of
going to bring this up in a public meeting, I think we should dive into it.
Well, I think where I'm at a little bit more than anything is that if we're only billing these guys, let's say, $10,000 to review, and we keep sending the product back and forth to get reviewed, and we're getting billed.
Something we have to look into.
That's what I'm saying, we're getting billed $20,000.
Not them, not their issue. And how are our invoices? Are they being taken care of for review? Where do we stand there financially?
So that's a great question. I think the first one, wait a minute. I think the first one, I got a certified letter, I think, first, right before Christmas, early December, I think it was $420,000. It was just a stack of bills, no cover letter, no explanation, no nothing.
From who, our finance director?
I believe it was the finance director. I apologize. I have this documented. I'll be more complete in my answer. Ryan, I asked Ryan to please help me digest this and to sift through it. We did. That's why he's so fluent with the code specifically. And we know what we should be billed for, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Ryan came up here physically and met with, I think, Jean first,
No,
and then Steve.
I emailed Jean. Jean referred me to Steve, met with Steve, and then Lewis followed up with me and asked if they were going to be paid. I relayed my conversation with Steve to Lewis. Lewis responded that Steve would get back to me with the information I needed, that I said I needed in order to pay the invoice. And then that was the last I heard of it until, I think, last week.
Until I received the FedEx envelope last week, and it did have a cover letter in it. But let me just talk globally for a second. So we got a bill for $420,000, and there's, part of that bill needs to get paid. I'm the first one to sit here and say it. But each individual submitter, the person that, the entity that submitted for that review is who should get billed, right? So they billed Stonewall Capital, my company. Stonewall Capital doesn't even own the ground. The ground of Southfields is owned by Southfields Capital Development, but they build Stonewall Capital. So in the discussion I had with Ryan and Johnny, I said Trammell Crow should get a bill because they submitted plans and they had reviews. D.R. Horton should get a bill. They submitted plans. They should be responsible for a bill. All of the parcels, Mike Brown, Sideline Properties, all of it was sent to Stonewall Capital. And we said, just delineate this, figure out who submitted what they're responsible for, and that those bills should get paid, and they will get paid. So we had the conversation, I think, 3, maybe 4 times now. That's the answer. It's unclear. That needs to get resolved because.
The billing?
Yes.
I mean, I would apologize if it was done incorrectly.
It's just, all we need to do is organize it and then bill per your code, right? And then I think what you're gonna find is I think you will find that there are some numbers that are outside of what actually has been stated in your code. My suggestion is to put everybody in a room together. Put KCI in a room, because I think KCI, I've been a client of KCI's for 25 years. They're a great firm. Put them in a room with us. Maybe Gene or someone from the board sits in on the meeting with Gene, with Tom, with Dan. Let everybody sit and talk about it. That's what I'm asking for. The last thing I'm asking for is KCI to be reprimanded here. Let's get that straight. That's not the purpose of this. So I want to make sure, because they, to me, are a strategic partner. They need to be part of this process. So I apologize if it felt like this was a witch hunt, because that's not the intent, okay?
And just,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just,
Certainly what it sounds like.
no, so
Yeah, it does.
what happened was a month ago, I came and I brought a very specific review. It was a review for the roads and it was a 4th submission for parcel C. And I just basically wanted to start a conversation between the town and their third party, because from my view, it was hurting both the timing of everything and, quite frankly, third-party reviewers shouldn't get a 4th bite at the apple on an item that hasn't changed. That was our view, and that was the conversation we wanted to start. We weren't trying to start a witch hunt, but then it just didn't seem as if anything had happened, which is why we're back here.
That's, you kind of hit the nail on the head with me, because that's the part that needs to be examined. The so-called 4th bite of an apple. Why has it occurred? Simple to find out.
And there was a very specific example which we'll share with you. So.
And I'll go through the
Yep.
other
Yep.
drawings and show all the things that showed up again that weren't on a previous drawing.
And
Or
that's
drawings
exactly-
that
that's
initial
exactly the
drawings
possibility.
are poor quality, so there's a lot to comment on, and you're gonna miss some things when something comes in that's not good quality, so.
We agree with you, but not a 4th time, that's all. So let's figure it out.
But if comments come back 4 times that don't get addressed.
Well, no, but
Yeah,
the example I
exactly.
brought had 4 leftover comments. All 4 of them were addressed. It had 14 new comments, all of which I demonstrated had been exactly the same and unchanged from previous 3 submissions.
If that was
So,
the
and
case,
as a
that's
fact,
unfortunate.
I gave it to the board. The board asked Lewis. Lewis said he would look into it. He was in his office. And we're a month later, and we're still having the conversation, so that's why we're here.
Well, I can appreciate that.
Well, we're gonna, I promise you, we're gonna schedule a meeting with all parties.
That's all we're asking.
And I appreciate if you guys can come. I know Tom will be here, we'll have our town planner and our finance director in here, because I'd like to get to it too. I mean, I'd just like to know, I'm doing the dollar and cent side of it. I want to make sure that we're getting the dollars that we're being reviewed for in our time. I mean, we spend a lot of time on it.
And I think we need to also find out why they got a late bill.
Yeah.
Yep, I think we all agree with that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anything else,
Yeah,
sir?
something really positive.
Okay, go on.
Town Wharf Park.
All right.
So we talked about this last time we were in here too. We need some direction from you all. How do we want to proceed here? We would like to proceed. There's been numerous environmental companies that have come in here that I think you're comfortable with, that have made proposals. We've done some preliminary work ourselves. We need to figure out who's going to take the rein here. And get this started. We would like to start the process. We are volunteering to do it.
Is the grant the grant's in our name?
Yeah.
Is the challenge is that we don't have the land? Am I right or wrong? I don't know.
Well, that was an initial comment that was made. We can meet with the legislator and discuss that. I paid the bills. I didn't ask for reimbursement from the town. So I paid the engineer. I did all the work. We did all the work ourselves. So I didn't ask for reimbursement there. Going forward, it would just make sense because you do have the grant for you to start processing this.
Who would you be using to help move with this?
It would be 3 or 4 different consultants. I mean, there's a lot of, because it's in the critical area, there's a lot of specialty cases here. But yeah, we hadn't moved forward. We had proposals that we've passed along, but we haven't put anyone under contract because we didn't know if we would be doing it or if the town wanted to get someone that they chose to do it. I think our big concern is we don't want to deed anything over to the town unless we have a comfort level that something will be done, and quite frankly, I don't think we do right now. I mean, we've been talking about getting something going on the critical area for 4 years.
It's as simple as this, though, I think. From a mechanic standpoint, we can enter into a memo of understanding to deed the property over to you, and that would be sufficient for the state for you to engineer this job. So I will take that onus on me to get clarification there, and I'll come back here next month and report back to that. But I think the problem is who's going to quarterback this, who's going to guide and direct it. And I know Jean's got a lot on her plate, and I don't want to burden Jean with this, and that's why we came in here. And I know that there's been numerous environmental consultants that have come in here, independent of us, that have made proposals to the board that you all feel comfortable with. We have reached out to them. We have proposals from them. So, there's going to be a civil engineer involved. There's going to be environmental engineers involved. It's an environmentally sensitive area. It's got to be done right. This is going to take some time. You're probably, I would say 6 to 9 months. Ryan would correct me and say 12 to 18 months away from doing anything here. It's a lot of legwork, behind the scene work that has to be done, some of which we've done. But now it's time to bring in the consultants, the engineers to do this work. And we have a state grant to pay for this. The town is not going to be incurring any fees here short of staff's time.
Lou, what's the obstacle you see?
Gene said that because it's in our name and we don't own it, it's privately owned, then it wouldn't apply, but I haven't got any legal guidance on that, as far as I know, that's it.
Okay.
It's our grant.
Ours on that.
And Louis, just to, in case it didn't come up, I had also talked with Gene about a way around that. The yellow line that we have up there was a proposed nature trail that goes all the way through city-owned property for that specific workaround.
There's ways to resolve it, and we can help resolve it. Just need to figure out who's gonna guide the rest of the ship.
Well, we'll schedule another meeting and we'll have Ryan, me, you, and Gene, or some members of the board and Lois, and we'll figure out what we can do here again.
Can we?
It's gonna be fast-tracked.
Great,
I gotta see when Gene's available.
thank you.
Anything else? Give me some good news.
Happy New Year.
Give us some good news.
There's men working out there.
We hope so.
We're getting close. We get these approvals on parcel D, we get the approvals on parcel C. This time next year, we're gonna be selling houses.
Good.
So that's the good news.
Thank
I want
you.
to mention also that the sportsplex is important, and we're moving forward with that.
Absolutely.
Mike, you have anything to
I
add?
don't know about that.
We had an awful lot of attorneys on the call yesterday, and it went very well. I think everybody's
You
swimming
can't
in the
have
same
more
direction.
attorneys than that. But it's going well, you're right.
It is going well, we're swimming in the same direction, so I'm thankful for that, and I appreciate everybody's hard work. It's not easy for sure.
I think we had 19 people and I think 15 attorneys.
Yes, I felt that way.
Lewis is a half attorney.
It felt that way.
We'll say it was a half attorney. Chip, you have something you want to bring to the board? Come on down.
They need Kathleen to get We have a proposal to replace 9 rooftop units, and well, we have a proposal to come up with a final cost to replace the rooftop units and the roof and all associated issues that are going to go along with it. And this company is going to use a purchasing cooperative, which is the same as going out and getting 5 or 6 different places, 5 or 6 different companies to do this, so it satisfies our procurement requirements. And I just wanted to show you why this is such a complicated project. This is up on the roof, of course, and you can see we have a lot of ductwork. It's above the roof and supported with legs down to the roof. So to do this project, the roof is basically shot. I don't know why we don't have more water coming in than we do. But to do this project, you have to basically remove all this ductwork and the units, replace the roof, and then the ductwork and the units go back. These are a little out of order. This is just a couple of the units. I wanted to first show you the condition of the roof. We can see the ripples and in the roof. What that means is that water has gotten under the membrane and has released the glue that holds the membrane down to the foam. And so we know we already have water getting under the roof. Here's another shot. All those little ripples mean that that's all loose. Water's been under that whole thing. There's some more areas.
Chip, how old is this?
I'd say roughly 24, 25 years, and generally the average expected lifespan of these kind of roofs is about 20 years. We're beyond where we should be. This is just looking at some of the units again. Why this is so complicated is going to involve the HVAC people, an electrical contractor, because there's electrical work that has to be done, a plumbing contractor, because that orangish looking pipe that you see, that's the gas pipe. And a lot of that's got to be taken up to be able to put the new roof down. There's some more of it there. You can see there's a real big gas line that runs along the brick wall there underneath that ductwork. And all this is going to include new ductwork, which is going to be insulated on the inside for about the first 12 feet of the run from the unit. And then the remainder of it is insulated on the outside with foam and then covered with an aluminum skin. This is another shot. The other thing that complicates this is you have these walls that stick up in this section of the roof. So basically, we're going to be doing one section at a time, which for the most part will involve 2 rooftop units. We're going to start, will be this section right here, which will be the unit for this room and the corridor, and for the HR office and all the rooms down on the left-hand side of the HR hallway. There'll be these 2 units to the left. The unit that's up against the building where the ductwork goes into the wall is what does HR and all those rooms down that way. The closer unit is what does this room. The ones on the right side of that wall, there's 2 areas in EPD. I believe it's a detective area, and street crimes, and this little room here in the corner, which those rooms were originally part of administration when we moved in here. And EPD ruled such a they needed those rooms, so they've taken over those spaces. So this just shows numbering of the rooftop units. This is just a bird's eye view, and just, it's hard to see on here, but there's 3 walls that run through here. There's one here, there's one here, one here, and one up there. And those are the, basically this will have to be done in 3 or 4 phases to do the units. The plan is to try to do it end of April, May, when there's not a big heating or cooling demand, but they will be able to bring in remote units, you know, for a brief period of time, should we need them for air conditioning or heat. So, but it's going to be about, they'll remove the rooftop units and the ductwork, then the roofer will come in, and then they'll come back and set the new units, and then it'll be a week and a half getting those units back up running again. Probably 2 weeks.
Chip, is there any value to go with like mini splits?
Not in a building like this, it would take too much. You have the ductwork within the buildings, it's there. I don't see how that would work. They do make systems today. They call it, one company calls it a city system, where it's kind of like mini splits, but you have a huge unit outside that, you know, sends the freon in and does the cooling. But I think the cost would way exceed what we're going to spend on this. You know, a lot of this is, a big portion of this is the roof. This is a very complicated section of roof. All those little dots that you see, those are all, and I think I had a picture, let me go back. You can see one there, these are all vents, passive vents that vent the space between the bottom of the rafters, which has sheetrock on it. I don't think it's directly on, I think there's 2 guys running across the rafters, the bottom of the rafters. And then sheetrock had to go up because it's a plenum for the return air. You can't have combustibles in there. So there's like 20 or 22 of these. So every one of those, and the price is going to be to include new tops for those, because you can see they're in pretty bad shape. But the roofer's going to have to redo every one of those boxes. So it's a very, you know, it's a very labor-intensive section of roof compared to the rest of the building that we had done so far. This is the last piece that hasn't been replaced.
Those vents aren't powered, are they?
No, they're passive.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it. So this, what we have to do is decide that we're going to enter into an agreement with CyberLink to come up with this final price with all the engineering they have to do, with all the other trades to figure out the final cost. They have a rough cost, I believe it's 1.25 or 1.3 million. We're going to, with this contract, we agree to pay them up to $60,000 for the development of the final cost. But if we go with them and have the job done, then that $60,000 would be included in the cost of the job.
Lou, do you feel comfortable going with CyberLink through this co-op? Yeah, I know.
Excellent service out of it. I can tell you, they're technicians that show up here, from the youngest guy who's brand new with them to the, you know, seasoned professionals. They're all very good.
Very good.
You don't get anybody that comes in and says, well, I got to call somebody, or wait till somebody else gets here. They know what they're doing.
So what do you need from us now?
Lewis has to finalize, I guess, the contract.
All we need from the board is the go-ahead.
Go ahead.
To have the initial value, the engineering and everything done. And that's the less than 60 grand, and not to exceed 60 grand.
You guys all good with
Then
that?
the contract will come back.
We're good.
It's done.
Okay, we can do that. I'll send
Yeah.
it.
Do we have a maintenance program that we were working under at Eddington?
Oh, yeah, we have a maintenance program with them.
Was that, with what we have up there now?
Yeah. And I mean, you know, they come, what that entails is coming, replacing the filters generally twice a year, and inspecting them. But what's been happening is we have fixed the same issues multiple times on these units because they're all,
Well, what about the water that's getting?
well, that's why we need to move on this. Hopefully, you know, as you can see, well, most of the stain piles have been replaced here. We had some leaks here, we fixed them. The worst part is over top of the building inspector's offices and finance offices. That was good back.
And these are all the HVAC, they're trained systems, right?
Yes, they're all trained.
Yeah, I think on the other side, they're
This is the worst area, that's the parking lot off to the left there. But, you know, it's only been enough water to get under there, release the glue, and if you get more in there, eventually, it's got to work through the styrofoam, the wood decking, and then it has to get through that sheetrock that's on the bottom, creating a plenum. So probably the sheetrock has gotten wet at times, it just hasn't been that bad. And actually, when we had the meeting with all the trades up here a few weeks ago, Hollander, the roofing contractor, he actually found a spot over here where a seam was open, and he had his guy come and fix it.
Wow.
You know, no charge, just to get it closed.
So we have this project that we have to tackle. What about next door?
Not doing anything with that right now.
Right now, it's just.
Well, we haven't do anything with that for a couple of years.
The board wants to invest how much money in that building or demo it.
Well, that would be
sell
one
it,
of my questions to you. You say you're waiting around, but obviously there needs to be a move forward to decide what you're going to do.
Well, the hesitancy on my part is cost. A general fund expenditure that we don't budget for. So I'm kind of sitting on it, that's why.
Well, let's pretend we have a lot of money. Let's pretend. We got lots of money.
I'd get rid of it.
You'd still get rid of it. You wouldn't, you see no use for it whatsoever.
It's a pits.
Well, this is what I'm asking now.
You don't need it, you don't need the space, you don't need new offices for anything. I'm saying you have unlimited funds.
You're saying if we have plenty of money, I'd build new offices there from scratch, the modern offices. Not that place.
I would agree with you.
All right.
Listen, when we bought that building, you were here, and I was at, we bought that, and the intention was for expansion if we needed it.
It was.
And it was gonna go down, I mean, from the very beginning we bought that. And then you had a tenant that came in, I think, at that time,
Okay.
right? You had Severn Trent.
Well, no,
And
the
the learning center.
investment in there, we had a woman that
Yeah.
did tutoring and everything. She
1980
painted it,
something.
put carpet in there, everything. Her husband worked for Gore. And she had a really thriving business there with kids, you know, getting tutored and stuff. And then her husband was transferred somewhere else and she shut down, so I think Parks and Rec were in there for a while.
I think it gives us more option if we remove it, and then we can see what it looks like, and what would it cost? Well, you'll have to give us some pricing on it.
I can look into that. Yeah, there's a little bit, I don't know if I can come up with a picture, but it's going to involve a little bit. I was looking at it the other day, because this roof, I don't know if I have a picture showing that.
Yeah, I was just wondering what that roof over there was. I mean, is that just as bad?
It's coming in bad in the very back part of the building, and I don't think it's worth fixing.
You must sell it.
Trying to find it.
Well, that would be, I think we bought it for expansion of the police, or not police, but for municipal offices and parking. But I'm not sure if you could ever get in there to park, could you?
We don't need.
Not much, because it's tables.
Probably not, you could probably make a companion space for this building possibly, but I wouldn't have a human being working there, it's so bad.
I know the back is terrible. There's mold and
I
there's.
know, my question is, are we gonna let it just sit there or fall down, or are we gonna do something?
I say we
Anyway,
take action.
that's
Give us a
just
price on
something
removing it.
Okay,
We can talk about, no?
That's what we need, just a price on removing it.
okay. There is some, I believe there's some asbestos in there on the floor tiles going upstairs, but if it's not
Wow.
friable coming apart, you don't have to have remediation done on it. So I don't think that will be a separate expense
Wow.
ahead of time. We already did replace the floor tile, you know, on the lower level several years ago. I think but it's in such bad shape. You'd have to throw so much money at it to make it usable, really usable for anything.
Good to know.
Chip, how soon do you think we'll have an answer on the cost of removal?
Hopefully, I can try to get something in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to be going out for a while with knee surgery. Hopefully I can get something before I go out, but someone else.
Are you getting one new one, or?
Just one.
You could put a mobile unit there, needed it for offices.
That's right, I think they're the Hollywood now.
They do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Pat, you have anything today?
No, I'm just listening.
All right, very good.
No
Well-
idea what you're talking about. 'Cause all
Well, listen, we're going to, I'd like to have a motion, we're going to have a closed meeting to discuss, let's see, performance evaluation, employees, officials, personnel matter. So we're going to have that with Lou. It's just going to be Louis, George, and the board, and everyone else can exit stage left. Do I have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor? Aye. Very good. Thank you.